Governor McCleary and Mrs. McCleary, Minister of Education, Honorable Myron Walwyn, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Marcia Potter, Mrs. Einstein Samuel, awardee, invited guests, family, friends, GIS. Good morning. I am Elena Foy, your chairperson for this auspicious occasion. And now I will invite Pastor Fred to do the invocation.
Father and our God, we thank you this morning for this wonderful privilege that thou hast afforded us to celebrate with Joshua and family this morning this great award. As we come this morning, Lord, we thank you for your many blessings that has been bestowed upon him. We thank you for the teachers, we thank you for the organizers who have worked with him diligently down through the years. And Lord, we celebrate with him this morning your greatness, your goodness unto him. We pray your direction in this program. We pray your continued blessing on his life. In Jesus' name, for Christ's sake, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Fred. I will now invite His Excellency Governor McCleary to do the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Madam MC. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge the protocol established by our chairperson, and particularly to say how pleased I am to see the Minister here and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. Of course, Mrs. Samuels, our awardee today, Joshua, and his many friends and supporters. It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to welcome you here this morning to Government House. This is exactly the sort of function we should be holding here, a function which pays tribute to someone who has a very special person, not because he's special needs, but because he's a very special person in meeting those challenges, addressing those needs, and finding his way through the world in a quite a remarkable way as we learn as we go through this morning's event. I got to know Mrs. Einstein quite early on in my time here, and she's also a pretty special person. As I think those of you who are here are also aware. She came to talk to me about the way in which the government was looking after special needs children, was developing their education, and I came to realize that there were shortcomings, that there was some frustration, but I think that over the last couple of years we've seen a significant change in the approach of the authorities here towards developing the needs of those children. I am particularly pleased with the way in which the autism program has been developed, and the way in which the government is now looking to integrate children within the normal school system, which must be the ultimate ambition. But today we're here to recognize, to acknowledge, and to pay tribute to Joshua, who, as I say, is a very special person. I don't know him well, but I was struck when I was reading through an account of his achievements by one phrase. And it talks about the way in which he's learnt to use language despite the challenges he faced as a young lad. It says here, today Joshua's level of not only speech but his level of vocabulary is unlike many of his peers. He remains shy and a guy of very few words. He doesn't look so shy today. But whatever he has to say is always said with what his grandfather William Samuels would say, the Queen's English. Well, as the representative of the Queen here in the Virgin Islands, I'm delighted that people aspire to speak the Queen's English. It's a rather old-fashioned phrase today. People now talk about received pronunciation. And the Queen herself has changed the way she speaks. I'm struck by the fact that when you listen to the Queen making a speech today and compare it with the way in which she spoke at times past, there's a significant shift in her own use of language and her own pronunciation. But the Queen's English is nevertheless a good standard to aspire to, and I'm pleased that young Joshua does that and has achieved so well against that standard. I just wanted to say that also that the reason why we're here on this day, in this week, is that it's Reading for Fun Week. And I am particularly keen to see an emphasis on reading, not just reading from a screen, but reading from the page, the written page. And I'm delighted that Joshua is so dedicated to reading books. We can all learn from computers, but we can also learn from books. And I think that that's a lesson I'd like us all to acknowledge. And as we struggle bringing up our daughter Emily, we have to consistently emphasize that all learning doesn't come from computers, that there's plenty can be picked up from more traditional media as well. And we therefore value the concept of reading, and therefore my wife and I are very supportive of the work done by the BVI Reading Council. Of course, the person who has for so many years been in charge of and has led that council, led the focus on reading here in the Territory is Mrs. Lyndon Smith, and I'm pleased that she's here today, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate her on the recent award made to her in recognition of her unwavering service in education and for founding the local observance of Reading as Fun Week. So I'd like you all to join me in a round of applause to Teacher Lyndon. That's really all I have to say, except to say once again how pleased I am to be part of this event and to welcome you here to Government House. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those kind words of welcome. And now I will invite Mrs. Lyndon Smith to do a background to the award and introduction of Joshua, the special guest.
A very special good morning to all. It's good to see you, and I in particular thank all of you for being here. Where did this award come from? September 8th is observed as International Literacy Day worldwide, and the International Reading Association, of which the BVI Reading Council is an affiliate, always encourages and makes suggestions that local councils should participate in observing the day in interesting ways. Over the years, the members of the British Virgin Islands Reading Council, and from here on I'll say BVIRC to give me a break, have participated in a variety of activities. We have walked for literacy, written for literacy, shared with students, teachers, adults, and senior citizens. But we felt that that was not enough, that was lasting. That happened and it went away. So we thought of creating, I'll say, some way in which we could have something done that would last and would be recurring and lasting and recurring. So we thought of creating an award to give to somebody who deserved to be remembered. I had the thought, I turned it around in my head. I shared it with the members of the council. I shared it with Miss Lorna Dawson, who has been so very supportive from day one to day now. She has been a rock. And we came up with an idea. Perhaps it wasn't the right wording, not the right thing to say, but we decided that we would plan to give the most improved, educationally challenged student for the year. And you heard what I said. Improved, most improved, educationally challenged. I am not sure how good a thing it was, but I know that we have been giving it for the last 6 years, I think, 6 to 7 years. So, 11 years ago, on September 8th, 2002, the first recipient of the British Virgin Islands Reading Council International Literacy Day Award for the most improved educationally challenged student was named. That was, we always name the person on International Literacy Day, and every 8th of September is International Literacy Day. We decided that we would make the presentation on the Wednesday during Reading is Fun Week, and that Wednesday was October the 9th, BVI Read Day. The student was Vadela Stapleton. She received the very first award from our very first patron, Mrs. Veronica Savage, the wife of the governor at that time. Since then, 7 other students have been recipients of the award. In addition to Mrs. Savage, former patrons included Mrs. Janet McCann and Mrs. Susan Perry. Our current patron is Mrs. Jenny McCleary. She will be presenting the award to our special young man today. And this, I think, will be her last. And we are going to miss her so much. This will be, and unlike the others, she's delivering 3 awards, right? Because she has an extra year, right? We loved having you, so we are glad about the extra year. I'd like to mention the names of the persons who were the recipients in the past years. Vadela Stapleton was the first, and we had Tanya Bob. They were learning disabled students. I'm not going into that. I'm not too good at that. We had Kadeem Smith, who was Down's syndrome. Dondre Tyson, he was deaf. And Jamoy Anselm, who was cerebral palsy and partial hearing impaired. Last year, another learning disabled was Akeem Frank, and he did not come to the government house for his award. It was given to him at his school by special request. Sitting among us is the 2011 recipient of the award, Miss Daniela St. Marthe, who was Mrs. McCleary's first recipient. Could you give Daniela, she's here, special. And Daniela is truly special. She went through her years, and she told me that she is at the HLS college completing her studies. And that is not educationally challenged at all. That is not educationally challenged. Nor, dare I say, is Joshua. So, I have now made up my mind, Lyndon, it's time to change that thing. And we have changed it to say something differently because we know that challenges will be there. Children, persons will have challenges. They don't have to be educational challenges, but they are challenges nevertheless. And so we are now just simply leaving out educationally, and we are accepting any student who has overcome whatever challenges he or she has and has succeeded in life. All right? So that's where we are. It's still the same. It's the same award, but we know what we are looking for in a different way. I don't want to really label anybody, and that is what I think I have been doing for the last few years. I apologize. Today, our recipient of this award is Master Joshua Lawrence. Like Daniela, special student, a special person with challenges who has overcome them. He is certainly, in my opinion, more intelligent than Teacher Lyndon. I say it and I mean it. I've read about Joshua, the things that Joshua has done and is doing. I wouldn't know where to start. He can come up here now and teach me a world of things. And I'm very pleased today to have Joshua here with us. And later, Mrs. McClary will deliver to him his very much deserved award. What I've been told, there were many persons who impacted Joshua's life along the way. Sitting with us today, we have two of them, and I'll just say a little about each of them so you'll know in what way they impacted his life, and then ask them to come and share with you something. Mr. Rodriguez was unable to come, but I'm told that Einstein's nephew, Mr. Gerard Huggins, will deliver the message that he sent. So we'll wait for that. Mrs. Sandra Dones, the former director of Sylvan Learning Center in Caguas, Puerto Rico, a curriculum specialist, and the educator who worked with Josh. She was not only responsible for assigning the best instructors to work with him, but she personally worked with him since 2004. Mrs. Dones, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Governor. Good morning, Mrs. McClary. So happy to be here today. I am very nervous because I am so happy for him, but here I am sharing with you a little bit of Joshua's story when he came into my hands, okay? So today is not like any other day. Today is a day of joy and happiness for many of us. But let me start with Joshua's story and why I am here. In January 2004, a lady with her little son came into my office in Puerto Rico. When Mrs. Samuel sat down and told me Joshua's story, I learned the hardships of her journey with her son. She had endured many obstacles, many difficulties, but there she was, willing to do anything for her son. Decided to prove that something could be done to make her son read. So she made a decision to take Joshua to Puerto Rico every weekend, to take reading lessons at Sylvan Learning Center. At that time, I wasn't working as a teacher. I was the director of education. But somehow, there was chemistry between Joshua and I. I have to admit, it was a challenge, but the best one I could ever have as a teacher. Every weekend, I expected Joshua anxiously. When he started the program, he could hardly recognize letters. It was hard to focus him in one activity. We played, we sang, we danced, and we read. Joshua became better and better every weekend. In his first 12 hours, he mastered a total of 11 skills, when the average for any other kid was 8. After 36 hours of instruction, Joshua was the student with the highest number of skills mastered in the beginner reading program. The individualized attention given to Joshua had paid off. Within 60 hours of instruction, Joshua could read books intended for his age and could also explain, narrate, and even predict an outcome. Today, I am here and proud to be part of Joshua's success. Thanks to him, I am living the teacher's dream. Believe me, I am living the teacher's dream. And thanks to him, I am a better teacher. Joshua, thank you for teaching me how to be persistent, how to be patient. I cannot stress enough how proud and happy I am for your success. And you know what? Keep dreaming and rock for the stars. Congratulations, and thank you everyone for being here today.
Principal of the Valley Day School on Virgin Gorda is here with us today, Miss Jan Morash, and she's going to share with you her story.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and kids. No child comes to school thinking he can't learn. For most, the can't never comes into it. The natural can-do attitude of the beginning student is reinforced by daily tasks that they tackle and master, and it's reinforced daily. But for some students, the school experience is not as reaffirming. From kindergarten on, they are asked to tackle tasks that are designed for someone else's style of learning, someone else's standard for success. And of course, they experience failure on a daily basis. You can't becomes the message that they receive. Not verbally, of course, but they hear it just as loud and clear. And as we all know, if you hear a message enough times, you begin to believe it. And if you believe I can't, you don't. When Joshua first came to us, his can-do was still going strong. And it was a challenge for us. I think we were educationally challenged. We had to challenge what we knew and had always done and accept new avenues and find out what worked for Joshua. But we believed we could, and so we stuck with it. We found lots of new methods, and again, I agree, we learned lots from Joshua. And we learned to be more flexible. We learned that if you're teaching a love of reading and the choice is Captain Underpants, go with Captain Underpants. You can then push some of the other literature that you think the child would benefit from and enjoy. But we went with what worked for Joshua. As he was with us, our students have become very can-do in an accepting way. It's okay to not be the average learning student at our school. And we have a range from gifted in one area to gifted at an extreme other area. And Joshua came to us and grew and learned. He learned to communicate while he played and worked and interacted with the other kids. And I'll always remember one Valentine's Day, instead of writing, we had quite a few children that year who weren't at the writing stage. And for Valentine's Day, each of the students had to choose, make a Valentine message for each of the other students. And all we said was it had to be positive. And on almost all of Joshua's, there were some, he's so funny because Joshua has a great sense of humor that we all love. But the most prevalent message was, Joshua, you are so smart. And that was from the younger children, his peers, and the older children. And I think they saw something in Joshua that many adults in Joshua's life didn't automatically see and accept, as he was very smart, and he is very smart. And it's our challenge to find a way to provide him the education that he is due. Joshua, I'm really, really proud to have contributed, along with Sylvan and your mom. And congratulations.
I'm Josh's uncle. He called me Uncle Victor since he started talking. Josh, I can say, was born at my home in Guabo, Puerto Rico. Josh's mom, my sister, stayed at my home for 1 month before he was born and another month after birth. My home is their home. My office is 5 minutes away from the hospital where Josh was born, so I was the first to get to the hospital and ask for the baby. It was funny when I asked to show me the baby. The nurses thought I was the father. I didn't know what to answer, he said. So I just left them with the suspicious curiosity because I'm pale white. He was very small, just over 2 pounds, and fit right in the palm of my hand. About 12 years ago, Josh was about 2. Einstein was concerned that Joshua was not talking anymore, and she didn't think something was right with him. I remember the call when she asked me to help her to find a set of specialists. It was about 6 different appointments. She took a flight, and in 2 days, she saw every doctor and just did every test. He had MRI of the brain, Fragile X, genetics testing. It was a lot. It has been a very interesting time because she was determined to do whatever she had to do for this child. She was angry with the BVI system that did not have any of the people Josh needed to work with, but that did not stop her. But I think it gave her the fuel and the drive to push even harder. Josh did not speak much, but from my observation, he showed magnificent intelligence that I wondered if he had a disorder or if he was just too smart for the people around him. My opinion was that we were the ones who didn't know how to figure this boy out, and maybe we had the problem and not him. I always told Einstein this. His mom sacrificed to fly in every Friday and take him to Sylvan Learning Center in Caguas on Friday afternoons and Saturday, and then leave right after class or on Sunday. I remember when Einstein asked me if I know where Catalina Small is. I told her, it's almost in my backyard. My home is base. She was consistent. I remember the first few lessons that Josh had. Einstein was worried that the teachers didn't know if it will work out and they might want to stop. You see, back then, Josh you see now isn't the Josh at 4. He was like lightning, and things could distract him very easily. But she said, that she's not going to let them give up on Joshua. They continued, and I remembered that by the end of his plan at Sylvan, Joshua had gotten the highest score of that center. It was a reason for celebration at my house. Joshua ended up returning to Sylvan many times over the years. It is not every mother can do what Einstein does and succeed. Most people I know will give up. Not because of the lack of love, but this takes energy and commitment that only a higher power can give. If you see her work with him now for his high school, you wouldn't believe it. It is remarkable and incredible. She always say that if he's going to get a good shot at life, she is the one who has to do it because no one else is going to go the extra mile to help him. To Einstein, Josh is her responsibility, which he takes seriously. That's an effort and commitment that today shows the results of what is to come for this young man in the future. I am always so amazed at how confident Josh always is. He never felt different. Nothing bothers him. Once he has the things he likes, his toys, he's quite a happy kid. I've seen Josh grow into what he is today. He has a lot of manners and respect. Josh always loved music. From a baby, his mom had bought a set of classical CDs and had the nurses play Mozart over his incubator in the NICU. He was there for a month. I saw how music pacified him. I remember he had a small battery-operated toy violin, and he would just play the same tune over and over until he falls asleep. He would play his own music on my piano. He is very good at technology. If I have a new computer or a new gadget, I would just leave it until he comes to Puerto Rico so he can set it up for me. He likes planes and rockets. So what will he be? A famous piano player? The next Steve Jobs? Or the first black astronaut to land on the moon? Wherever life takes you, Josh, it will be great because you work hard for every accomplishment that you got. All my blessings, and we are very proud of you, my son, Uncle Victor and Aunt Alex. Thank you.
Many, many thanks for that interesting glimpse in Joshua's life. And now, I invite Mrs. McCleary to present to our 2013 recipient of the British Virgin Islands Reading Council International Literacy Day Award. Mrs. McCleary. Thank you, Mrs. McCleary. And now we will have Joshua to respond.
Good morning. Thanks to Governor McCleary and Mrs. McCleary for inviting me and my family and friends to the government house. Manuel, thanks for coming. Thanks to the BVI Reading Council and Mrs. Lorna for thinking that I can deserve this award, to get this award. It's an honor. I've been attending Sylvan Learning Center since I was 5, and they were the first to give me a chance to learn. Sandra, I feel good that you're here, and I hope that you and your husband enjoy the BVI. My godfather, Uncle Victor, has been my greatest supporter, and he does for me that it can't be measured. He tried to be here, but he couldn't come. My godfather, Freddie, you have always been by my side. Thank you. Miss Jan, Miss Jennifer, Miss Becky, and Seamus at Valley Day School. Thanks for being great teachers to me. I have great aunts, uncles, and cousins. Thanks for being here for me. My Uncle H.G. and my grandma would have been here today. Latoya, thanks for teaching me music and for your patience. My instructor and my teacher, Gareth Hewlett, thanks for teaching me Kung Fu. Because of your teaching, I can learn how to defend myself. I can't forget Dr. Boas and Miss Cassidy Valentine, by my speech therapists who have worked with me since I was about 3 years old. God gave me the best mom, who always told me that I can do things that I want to do. Thanks, Mom. God takes away my fears and helped me in everything, so I thank God as well. I can't call all the names, but thanks to each of you for helping me. All my teachers and counselors live in different states in the countries: Switzerland, Arizona, Alabama, Virginia, Tennessee. Even my English teachers for 3 years lived in Costa Rica. Even though they have never met me, they are awesome, and I thank them. I am fortunate to learn through modern technology for the past 4 years, and I am in a very good school. They are all great, and I'm grateful to them. I promise all of you that I will always do my best and be obedient and respectful. Thanks for coming, and have a good day.
Governor, Mrs. McCleary, all persons present, Einstein, Samuels, and the family members here of Joshua, and of course Joshua and those persons who are here, pleasant good morning to all of you. Pleasant good morning to all of you. Wonderful. Because we're here to celebrate who I think will be a very fine young man here in the Virgin Islands. And I was glad as I listened to the speakers. When the first one started and the governor used the term special needs, and then I heard educationally challenged, I tipped across to my permanent secretary and said, we have to get rid of those words. But by the end, when the last speaker came on, I was very pleased to see that we had dispensed with that at the end. And I was also glad when it was said, I can't remember who said it, but it said it quite well, that the challenge is not the student, it's us. We haven't figured out a way how to teach them yet. And that has been my experience with Joshua, because Joshua communicates with me, writes me letters, writes me on Facebook, and I think he sent me an email quite recently. I can't remember what the subject matter was. But reading what he writes tells you that he's a special child, special in the sense that he's extremely gifted. And Joshua, with the challenges that he had, he could have been a different place if he didn't have the right mother. The problem that we have here in the Virgin Islands, and I think about it, we haven't done enough yet to help students who are differently abled. We are way behind the 8 ball, and I think what has happened with Joshua is a testament to what we can do if we had the resources, or if we put the resources in the right place, and put our hearts in the right places so that we can help the children who we know are differently abled. We have Miss St. Mark, Daniela, and her mother. Same enthusiasm, same effort, same dedication as Einstein had to see her daughter succeed. And her daughter now goes to the H. Laverty Stout Community College. One of the things that we did as a government is because we wanted to encourage differently abled persons and their families. We want to show them that the students, once they get the right help, once the dedication is there, once the love is there to help them to succeed, they can succeed and do very well. And that was the reason why we put in place the Eslyn Henley Rishi Learning Center Scholarship. That is now part of the scholarship program that we give out for the secondary school graduation. And Daniela was the first person to receive one, and we're very glad that she's going to the college. Certainly she has some challenges now because we haven't started to build buildings in a way that we accommodate everybody, and that is something, again, that we need to really make an effort to do, that we can make sure that when we build new buildings, and even buildings that are public business buildings, the modifications must be done to ensure that all persons can properly access those buildings. The second person, I heard his name called, Jamoy Anslem. He was also a recipient of the Eslyn Henley Ritchie Scholarship just recently, and he's also attending East Laverty Stud Community College. And there was another child quite recently in cabinet, the name escapes me, that attended Brigada Flax, that would also be attending the East Laverty Stud Community College. And when you meet with those children, you speak with them, you can tell that if you do the right things, if the right resources are in place, if the dedication is there, if the government remains focused, if all the stakeholders remain focused, they can live out their true potential here in the Virgin Islands and go on to do very great things. And I can see that in Joshua here today. One of the things that we did as a government when we came into office is we created a special line item in the budget. We have to change the name. We call it Special Needs PS. So we have to change it this time around. But we placed $200,000 in that. We did it for 2 years now in a row. And for this budget coming up, it's going to be the third year. And we placed that there so that we can help persons, because we recognize that we don't have the educational system set up in the right way to help the students. So if they can access that care and that help outside of the Virgin Islands, I think it's incumbent upon us to help them to do it. And it is not a good feeling when I hear parents say to me, I'm going to move to England, I'm going to move to the United States because my child cannot get the support that he or she needs. It's not a good thing. If the child is born in the territory, all the services should be available here for that child. We made some significant progress in that. Student services that should be the unit that was set up for dealing with differently abled and students who needed more attention. We made some significant progress in fixing the office up because they didn't have a location for quite a while, and Ms. Dawson would know this. And we fixed it up quite nicely. We were ready to move in, and then there was a flood upstairs that destroyed all the work that we did. So we're basically now back at square one. We have formed an alliance with the Hertfordshire County Council. That's one of the things that we want to make sure, Governor, that we get done. The response is somewhat lethargic. I called you yesterday morning. I woke up with that on my mind to tell you I wanted you to push Hertfordshire because we were very enthusiastic. They were enthusiastic at the beginning, and I think they've sort of lost some steam. So as the Queen's representative, I'm going to ask you to use your very strong powers to get them back on track for us, because the arrangement was that they were to provide someone to come down and do training with our teachers and those persons who should be working in student services. And then also for us to be able to find persons within the department that we can also send up to the special schools there so that we can deliver the services that are needed here in the Virgin Islands for all people. So I'll be very grateful if you can do that for me. But I want to congratulate you, Joshua. I think you're a remarkable young man. I think you were blessed with an excellent mother. Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause. And the thing is, too, that and I'll leave now. When you give a politician a mic, he speaks forever, but I will leave soon. Joshua seems to be shaping into a complete young man. We place a lot of emphasis on education in the academic sense, but there are a number of other qualities that make up the person. If you're an intelligent person academically, but you don't have the soft skills, it's just as cheap as you didn't have the education to begin with, because you're not going to get very far. And from Joshua's speech, you heard humility, respect, and appreciation for people. And love, because he remembered to thank all those persons who helped him along his journey, which is something very often, even the best of us, we neglect to do. So again, I want to offer congratulations to you, and I wish you all the best, Joshua. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your kind words. And now we will open the floor for brief congratulatory remarks from anyone who so desire.
First of all, I want to say good morning to everybody here. I didn't prepare any speech or anything like that. But first of all, I want to congratulate you, Joshua, and all you have achieved. Because as you know, I know you from, as your uncle say, a little thing. And you have come a long way, and I want you to keep up the good work, continue to pray to God every day, because without him nothing is possible. And Einstein, I want to personally, thank you, and see that I have seen and I know all you've been through with Joshua from the first time he went down to Puerto Rico, traveling every week. Every time I come by, I say, tell me, okay, get ready to go to Puerto Rico, got to get a flight out of here, got to get back here by Sunday, and all that you've done, and cry and pray and everything that you've done, and you see what all has come out of it now. I want to personally thank you for all you've done for Joshua, and I continue to pray for both of y'all and people at Sylvan and Lady Virgin Garda and everything that y'all have done for Joshua. I want to thank you all personally and continue to walk with him and continue to pray for him. Amen.
Our family have at least one of everything. We have a lawyer, we have teachers, we have nurse, we have just about everything to complete a whole country in our family. And Joshua is our family genius. And I say that because I was with my Aunt Einstein while she was pregnant for a few months, and she blames me for him wanting to play all the instruments because while I was there, I had to practice for band. But now I know it's not my fault. She bought the classical music, right? And while he was growing up, I was the one who had the responsibility of babysitting Joshua. Anytime his mother or father have to go anywhere, I am the designated guardian. So I spent a lot of time with Joshua growing up. And I remember one day he was at our home and he was on the computer playing something called Trap-O-Matic. I didn't know what it was. I don't know how he found it on the internet because at that time I didn't know much about the internet, but he was a little boy. I think he was 5, and he was online doing all sorts of things that I did not know how to do. And I saw him playing the game, and I paid it no mind. And then later on, my aunt brought a drawing for me, and she asked me, you know what this is? It was very complex. And I said, but that looks like the thing Joshua was playing on the internet, where you build a trap so that the ball goes down and there are all sorts of contractions so that the ball gets to the end. And I'm like, Joshua have to be a genius. How did he remember? And when I looked at it, it was the exact. It was a replica of what was online. All the details Joshua remembered and drew at a young age. And I said, he is our family genius. So, Joshua, I want to congratulate you on your accomplishments. And I know that you're going to continue making us proud. And I guess he will be our first family astronaut.
Congratulations to you, Joshua. And I think for me, with all the years of dealing with Joshua, my proudest moment with Joshua, he's very shy, as he said. Someday I was going into CCT, and I heard this person call out to me, and when I looked, it was Joshua hailing me. That made me very proud, because as shy as Joshua is, he doesn't usually shout out if he sees, if he meets you, he will hail you, but not to call out to you across the way. So I was very proud. And I also want to say congratulations to you, Einstein. I remember very well sitting in the Cutlass building, getting your call in 2002, saying to me, my son has challenges and I need to know where I am going to send him to school. He's finishing his years at preschool, and I need to know what school he's going to, because he's not going to a special school, and you were very adamant about that. And hence our relationship began. And we've had a lot of challenges, but I'm glad to see that you have persevered and you have accepted that despite all the shortcomings within the government, within the territory, Joshua is your child, and you're going to see that you can do what you can do for him. And so I hope that even as you enjoy all his accomplishments, that what you have gone through and what you're doing will be an inspiration to other parents to do what they have to do for their children. Congratulations.
I just want to say, like everyone else have said, congratulations to Joshua. Joshua, my cousin, Einstein, I'm just so proud of this moment. I knew a lot about what you went through to get where you are today, and I'm very proud of you. Two things that stands out in my mind this morning. The first is, because our houses are located so closely, I'm on the top and you're just down the hill, I would hear every morning when the vehicle would start to take him to the boat to go to Virgin Garden to go to school. At just before 7 o'clock, I think it was, just to catch the boat. And every morning I could say, okay, Einstein and Joshua are leaving to catch the boat. And I admired that he went to Virgin Garden day after day. And you were really consistent and you kept with it. And you went to Puerto Rico and you kept with it. And now you are reaping the benefits of your labor. I am really proud of you. The second thing is, just recently, as this summer, when Joshua was conducting some research, I think it was for his social studies class, when he came across the word Anasazi. And he got very excited because he had heard the word Anasazi dancers. And he knew it was related to his younger, his cousins. And he was all excited because he would now learn where the word came from, what type of Indians they were, and he was happy to share it with us. Very humble and very timid. But Joshua, I just wanted to tell you that from the Scatlifts, we are very proud of you, and we expect exceedingly and abundantly greater things as you continue on your life journey. May God continue to bless you, and may he give your mom the strength and the knowledge and the finances to continue to get you to the level of the astronaut that we are all excited about. So again, congratulations.
Good morning to everyone. And Joshua, congratulations. I really thank God for this opportunity, and I mean, it is so exciting to know that in spite of what people think of you, when you have your dream and you reach for it, you can achieve it. And I believe that's what happened to Joshua through his mother. I want to thank God for, well, we have all the Scatlifs and the Samuels and the Lawrence. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking back, and I'm saying, I remember some years ago, being his aunt, and I had a granddaughter who was about the same age, and they were at home that Saturday. And these children are the same age group, and they were playing and playing and playing. And something unusual I was noticing. All the other children were, you know, making the trouble, talking, calling, and doing all kinds of stuff. But he was there just sitting there and hardly said anything. Or he would only say, uh-huh. And I felt something is wrong. So I called the mother and I said, you need to check that child, because I think something, at his age, he should be able to say more than this. And I thank God she listened, and she went on, and she realized that there was this challenge. And today, I look at Joshua, and I'm proud of him. And when I listen to that young man, the way he speaks, the Queen's English, I say, oh my God. But what reminds me more, his grandfather, Mr. Saddleback, the perfect English. that's this young man. And I just thank God for him today. And we thank God for sparing him and giving him the privilege through his mother. Congratulations.
Many thanks to all of you for your congratulatory remarks to Joshua. And now we will have the vote of thanks by Mrs. Lyndon Smith.
Occasions such as this always leave a lasting something within me. I'm glad that we are here, and I want to express thanks to everybody. First, Einstein, Miss Samuel. I've known you for years, and I forgot how you looked until I met you again. But I've never forgotten Einstein, because I knew who Einstein was, and I knew that when Einstein wanted something, she went for it, and she got it. She never gave up, no matter how difficult it was. She always pushed forward to the end. I want to say a special thanks to you for sharing Joshua with us today. I've only seen him twice, but he has found a special little spot somewhere inside of my chest. And I don't think that I'll ever forget, as have been with Danielle. I don't forget such things and such persons. Thank you. Thanks, Mrs. Dones, Miss Morash, Mr. Huggins for reading the message. Thanks to Lorna, Miss Dawson, who, Lorna, you should have reminded me earlier though, but we will chat about that. And you know what I'm talking about. Thank you for always being there. This has been, many people don't know it, this has been sometimes a very, very, very lonesome road. Very lonesome. But I continue to do what I have pledged and what I think that God and my parents set me to do. And with God's help, I will do all that I can for as long as I can. As long as it means that I'm helping somebody along the way to learn to read, to learn to be literate, to do anything that helps to make them better in life. A special thanks to Governor and Mrs. McClary for opening their hearts and their home to the Reading Council ever since they arrived in the territory. Their contribution to our efforts in promoting literacy and their overall support and encouragement that we have received over the years will always be remembered, appreciated, and I am such a boo-boo, I am sure you're going to hear from me whether you want to or not. All right? I had a letter from Mrs. McCann just 2 days ago when she saw my name on the internet, which I didn't know was there. Thank you. We're going to miss you. And do come back again and again. Find a way of getting here. To all of you, family, friends, Pastor Fred, the media, well, like Joshua, I can't call all the names. So, a big thank you to the minister, Honorable Minister, for what he said. And Joshua, thank you for being Joshua. And keep soaring. You notice the plane? Good. May all your dreams come true. Thanks to all. God bless you.